Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I want to cover off dictionaries in Python with you, and I'm going to cover this off fairly quickly. More importantly, in this tutorial I want to talk about what dictionaries are, how to use them, and how do they differ from things like lists and tuples. What I've also done is gone online and I've looked at a few different methods that you can use within dictionaries as well, and we'll apply some of these today just as an example. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and created a dictionary. So one of the big differences between lists, if you remember, when you start a list you always put those in square brackets. When you start a tuple, those are always going to be in parentheses, and when you start a list they're always going to start with squiggly brackets. So that's how you find a difference out between how your structure's set up. Anything in squiggly brackets is a dictionary, this is a tuple, and this is a list. So the way dictionaries work is they work on something called a key value pair. And what that means is that for everything on the left hand side of this colon here is what we call a key, and everything on the right side is what you call a value. So something like Celtics is a value, and you would pull that by using Boston as a key. Now the difference between how you pull data from a dictionary versus a list is that in a dictionary you would go ahead and you would pull it based on, if we had a list called basketball teams, you would go ahead and say, pull the third one, and you would expect it to actually pull 0, 1, 2, 3 Philadelphia 76ers. But that's not how dictionaries work, because dictionaries don't have an index. So they're not in any kind of an order whatsoever. They're strictly based on key value pairs. So the only way you can go ahead and pull Philadelphia Sixers is to actually write in Philadelphia as the key, and then you can go ahead and print this statement below. So we can say print, something like that, and it should return the 76ers. Because I've basically gone ahead and said, tell me what Philadelphia represents in terms of a value. Now the other thing you can do with dictionaries and lists, but not tuples, is go ahead and change the content within here. So let's say I wanted to change Sacramento Kings to Sacramento Super Kings, for example. The way to do that is I would go basketball teams, so I'd call this list basically, basketball teams, then I would say Sacramento, and then I would give it its new names, and I would say Super Kings. So now Sacramento is called Super Kings, and when I pull it, its definition in the dictionary will go ahead and change because I've said Super Kings. And if I pull the entire dictionary, it is the last item in here, and you'll see on the right hand side Sacramento Super Kings is now changed. And I can change this to whatever I want. So if I wanted to call the original list, it's very easy. I just get rid of this if I wanted to. Or I could take this list and I can copy it. So I can go and say return a copy of this dictionary. I'll call it BT is equal to, and then we'll say basketball teams dot copy. And so now what I can do is I can just go ahead and change this in BT, and it's only going to change the definition for Sacramento in my copied dictionary, but not in my original one. So to prove that, let's go ahead and pull both. And what you'll find is I'll have two different dictionaries, and my definition on the last one, so remember I pulled basketball teams first, it still says Kings, and on my second one it says Super Kings. So you can actually keep your original dictionary if you wanted as well, copy another one, and go ahead and edit that one if you needed to, just in case you don't want to mess around with the original. You can even do things like just find the keys. So if I wanted to say, let's just work with the BT one now because it's shorter, but if I say print BT dot keys, what it's going to do is it's going to return everything onto the left hand side. So these are all the keys here. So it's going to return all of those back to me. And now you see it just returns Boston, New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, and so forth. And very similarly, I can just say print the values as well. It says Celtics, Nets, Knicks, 76ers, and so forth. Alright, so let's say I wanted to do something else a little bit more interesting. Let's say I only wanted to pull the items or the keys that had a certain length. So what I mean by that is I want to be able to pull something that is, say, less than 6 characters, and this one here already is around 9 characters or so. So if I want to limit it to, say, 6 or 7 characters, how would I do that and just pull those items if I wanted to? So here's how you do that. You would do a loop, and you write something like for I in basketball teams, and then you write, because we're doing the search on the keys, we would say keys. You could do the same thing on values if you wanted, but I'll just demonstrate it with keys. And then we'll write something like if the length of I, and I'll explain what I'm doing in a sec, is say less than, let's limit it to 7, and we'll say print I, and I also want to print the value as well. So how do you go and pull the value for something. Remember, to retrieve the value, you have to use the key. So do basketball teams, I. That's the same thing as me saying basketball teams and in quotes writing in Phoenix, for example. So when I do this, what I'm saying is for I in basketball team. So take for every one item, and this is going to increment every single time. So the first time it's going to say for I in basketball teams.keys, it's going to look at Boston. And then it's going to say, okay, is Boston less than 7? If it is, print it. Then it's going to go back to the top again. Now it's going to say, okay, let me look at New Jersey. Is New Jersey less than 7? And the answer is no, so don't print it. And it's going to keep doing that until it iterates the entire list. So let's see if it actually works. So when I hit print, it's giving me Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, Denver, Utah, and Dallas. Utah is the smallest one, so if I say 5, technically this should only return Utah, which it does. And if I just wanted to have the city name, or the team name, sorry, I just get Utah, and if I just wanted the value, for example, I could just pull it by doing this. And that's it. So this was a quick tutorial on dictionaries. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did find this helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, comment below, and let me know what else you'd like to see. Thanks. Bye-bye.